grow as an individual by developing essential skills needed to problem solve and mitigate conflicts in a positive way. I believe my commitment to drive to help to effectively navigate the company through a recession and a global pandemic. I take pride in leading people to their fullest potential and believe in treating everyone with the same respect as I hope to receive. People who feel valued and respected by their employer will work harder and more passionate for their work. My diverse background as a business owner will provide the opportunity for out-of-the-box, non-institutionalized, and strategic planning. This is including, but not limited to, budgets, planning, scheduling, leadership, accountability, and transparency. My law enforcement background in the busiest city in the county will provide a platform to ensure proactive policing occurs to prevent crime, not just respond to it. Our citizens deserve to live, work, and play in a safe county. I will accomplish this by reducing crime and bringing solutions to issues in our county through holding myself and my staff accountable. I started my law enforcement career in St. Helens Police Department as a reserve, but quickly moved to a full-time position. I'm genuinely passionate about the community and the positive impact that I can have on it. I believe that law enforcement is a stressful career. However, having the right people in the positions that create a safe and thriving community, and one which I am proud to serve. Our community is growing and expanding, and I feel...
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Ms. Bixley.
Great.
Yep.
So I'm running for re-election because of everyone here in this room. You're all here tonight because you care. You want to help make our community a better, more safer place to live and call home. And so do I. In short, I'm running for re-election because I care about Columbia County. During the past 3.5 years as your sheriff, I've made some substantial changes to the agency. I have filled key leadership positions with experienced ethical professionals. I have formed a cell attraction team, streamlined our concealed handgun license process, and put more deputies on the road. I've also done so much more. I've also succeeded in putting criminals behind bars. And I've done that through obtaining grants that give us more deputies, by building community trust, and even by pulling my firearm when necessary. But there's still more work to be done, and that's why I need your support. I've been in law enforcement for nearly 2 decades. And experience matters because law enforcement is not a matter of black and white, but it's several shades of gray. With that experience comes wisdom and the ability to lead in the field. Law enforcement staffing is at historically low levels across the nation, and Columbia County is no different. The former CEO of Porsche, Peter Schultz, once said, "You hire character and you train skill." That's exactly what we do at the Sheriff's Office. I have worked to retain our hardworking and dedicated staff by creating a supportive and positive culture where employees are valued. We have a stringent hiring process which ensures that we hire the right people for the job. By hiring the right people for the job, we're able to create community supporters as well as community defenders. I hold my staff to the highest standards of excellence. I hold myself to those same standards, which is why I obtained my executive level certification in both police and corrections from the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training. Under my leadership, the Sheriff's Office has improved crime prevention, transparency, and community involvement during a very challenging time for law enforcement, and we've accomplished all that with a meager budget. My almost 20 years of law enforcement experience has made this all possible for Columbia County. As your sheriff, I'll continue to look for innovative solutions. We will do whatever it takes to ensure we're taking strong.
Thank you.
Almost made it.
All right. So the first question is for you, Sheriff Pixley. You want to ask again?
I'll go with it.
All right.
All right, so what is the current response time to calls in the city limits, outside and outside the city limits? Do you find these times to be acceptable, and please explain?
So inside city limits, it's hard to kind of do because we don't typically respond to calls within city limits. We're a countywide agency, and it can take, I've been on code runs up to 45 minutes when we can classify out to the island code for lights and sirens. Do I think that's appropriate? Absolutely not. Currently, the county funds about 6 deputies, and we fully fund the other 6 through some enforcement action anyway, through creative funding sources. We get about between $2 and $3 million per year from the U.S. Marshal Service. We get $1 million from the county general fund, and the rest we fill in through our use of tax levy money. Actually, that's for the jail. I apologize. The enforcement is fully funded out of enforcement. So we typically only have 2 deputies on duty at any given time. So I think the response times are horrible, but we have a very hard-working crew, and they work their tails off and do that.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Take a question for
So this is actually something that I've tried to do a little bit of research on, and it's hard to give you a definitive answer on response time. The CCSO hasn't even published their 2021 annual report, and we're almost into 2023. So to go, figure out statistics, if you're actually looking for something that's 7-minute call time, the city is obviously going to be a quicker response time than the county because the city has a smaller playground per se, 5-mile area of service. When you start dealing with the county, obviously the response time is going to be bigger, and when you start looking at the county doesn't provide 24-hour coverage for its citizens, from 12:40 at night till 7 o'clock in the morning, there's nobody on. So the response time is going to be astronomical. I worked graveyard for 4.5 years and sat there in my car and watched calls come out with drunk driver crashes, domestics, people's houses getting broken into, and there's nobody to respond from the sheriff's department. If it's a critical situation to where somebody's life is in jeopardy, St. Helens is the only agency that has response 24 hours. So if it's a life or death situation, St. Helens can cover that. I've already been working and talking with the St. Helens police chief, and he's confident that when elected, that we'll work together, we'll have a better relationship, and with me working towards having 24-hour coverage, it only technically takes 4 deputies to be able to cover 24 hours. Is it ideal? Absolutely not ideal. You want to have more than one person on so you got coverage, and you can back one another up. But 8 deputies, you can have 24-hour coverage. I can't tell you why it's not done right now, but response time should be better with 24-hour coverage.
Is there a rebuttal on that?
No rebuttals.
No.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
I think a rebuttal would be nice.
Same question, both candidates, Ralphie.
Yeah, but why not a rebuttal?
All right, next question. This one goes to you, Mr. Massey, first. With the rising houseless population where some individuals sleep in business doorways and alleys, how will you support the business owners and employees to feel safe and secure in their place of work? You ready? Yeah.
So you're really, again, you're kind of addressing a city situation as opposed to the county. I understand the county does cover other municipalities as in Clascanine and Vernonia. Having 24-hour coverage is gonna assist obviously in a bigger, better way because you can actually have somebody in the area. Could you repeat the question one more time for me?
Yes, with a rising houseless population, where we have some individuals sleeping in doorways and alleys, we could expand this to fields and forests as well. How will you support business owners and employees to feel safe and secure in their place of work?
Yeah, that is, I said from the very beginning when I said I was gonna put my name in the ballot for sheriff, is 24-hour coverage would be the first and foremost thing, my highest priority for getting coverage. And like I addressed earlier in my comments, that can be addressed or handled with 4 deputies. We have more than that right now, but I'm aware that we do have 2 that are actually in backgrounds and taking other positions, and probably gonna be losing 1 more. So a minimum of 4 to coverage. I think, that's it, I guess, right now, just 24-hour coverage.
Thank you. Sheriff Pixley, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I think I'm good.
I will for you as well.
It's okay, I'm good. If I need to, I'll ask you. So we're kind of fighting an uphill battle in law enforcement. For 20 years, for the 20 years I've been involved in law enforcement. Law enforcement has been a fallback for homeless, for mental health, for all those civil type of situations. And the unfortunate situation that we find ourselves here in Clement County is there are 0 resources to help the homeless or houseless population. And the state legislature and the next Court of Appeal has taken that one step further and said that we can't arrest people for trespass for simply being homeless. So really, the best option we have is we work with business owners, because there are business owners in the county, there are homeowners in the county who are suffering these same kind of consequences, these same problems, they're facing the same problems as you see in the city. So we try to provide resources for the homeless people we run into. We give them rides to Longview, we give them rides to Portland, where the services are. But we also work with our community partners, we work with Community Action Team, we work with CCMH, we try to find them kind of wraparound services to,
Hold that steady, I've got one more thing.
to find a solution as opposed to just a band-aid. Thank you.
Chuck Bixley. Oftentimes we hear lack of resources is an issue, but as business owners, we must figure out how to work within our budget to meet the needs of our customers. How do you plan to use the current budget to meet the needs of the community? And what opportunities do you see to improve the sheriff's department's operations?
That's a tough question. So you're absolutely correct. We all have to work within a budget. We all have a set budget. And I've talked to Mr. Cardiff about that several times over the past few years. But with that being said, you know, the Columbia County is 657 square miles. Of that, and we also have about 77 miles of Columbia River shoreline. So resources are scarce. So in a perfect world, what I would love to do is have deputies stationed in quadrants around the county. Antelope Valley, South County, North County, Rover in between to cut down response times. But in the current situation, we're lucky we have 2 deputies on duty. So that's how we work within the resources. We try to come up with creative partnerships with the City of Vernon, the City of Pasco, or the State Marine Board to get additional funding. We're currently working with the county to get some additional funding maybe for the Parks Department so we can have a parks deputy running. All these are creative partnerships, how we expand our budget to try to meet the needs of the business owners and the community members.
That was a long question, so you do.
Now, I'm reading for you again, not a problem. Oftentimes we hear lack of resources is an issue, but as business owners, we must figure out how to work within our budget to meet the needs of our customers. How do you plan to use the current budget to meet the needs of the community? And what opportunities do you see to improve the sheriff's department's operations?
So working with community resources is huge. I've actually had conversations with Tom Jacobson of CCMH and with the current chief, Brian Pixley. They're actually creating a crisis stabilization center at the current CCOM campus on McNulty Avenue. The facility would be open for 23 hours a day. The problem is if they open it up for 24 hours a day, that the regulations and laws of how the facility is operated have to fall under a different set of guidelines. So this is something that's going to be open for 23 hours, and it's going to be available for walk-in patients, and it's also going to be available for law enforcement drop-off. When you drop them off, they can be there for up to 23 hours. They can either get care and counseling there and then released back out into the public, or they can be held there for a short amount of time until law enforcement is able to either arrange resources to get somebody in to do a transport to Portland, or if we can get a hold of the medical staff and we can get them the ambulance transport outside the county. It also has plans to be a detox center. There's already a facility in Deschutes County that is a successful and up and running center, and it will serve as a model for us to model our facility after.
Okay, so Mr. Massey, you opened, so closing remarks will start with you, Sheriff Pixley, and then Mr. Massey.
So we have 10 minutes this time?
You can have 3 because we're a little ahead of schedule. How does that sound?
I should need all 3. So experience is essential when leading an effective law enforcement agency and jail here in Columbia County. Almost 2 decades of local law enforcement service and training has provided me with the tools not only to do the job, but to do it right. I am the only candidate with law enforcement leadership experience. That includes 5 years as a sergeant and lieutenant, and the last 3.5 years as your Columbia County Sheriff. I currently oversee over 80 employees and volunteers across 8 different divisions and manage a $14 million budget. I am the only candidate with experience, certification, and training in jail operations. The rules and laws surrounding running the jail are complex and full of liability. So it takes an experienced leader to ensure that it is run properly. I'm also the only candidate with executive level certifications from the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training. I currently hold my basic, intermediate, supervisory, basic, intermediate, advanced supervisory, middle management, and executive level certifications in both police and corrections. I am the only candidate with top-tier law enforcement leadership training from the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training, the Oregon State Sheriff's Association, the National Sheriff's Association, and many more. But really, my campaign is built on 3 core values. The first is keeping you safe, because safe communities truly are thriving communities. I have been championing efforts to obtain 24/7 coverage for the past several years, and I will continue to fight to help ensure that you, your family, and your property are protected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The second thing is serving the people. Serving the people is truly a cornerstone of who I am, both as a person and as a leader. And I will continue to dedicate both personal and professional time to ensure, or to serve the people, to doing the things that increase trust, build goodwill, and strengthen our community. Integrity in leadership is number 3. I strongly believe that integrity starts at the top. I have always and will continue to hold myself and my staff to high standards of excellence and demand excellence in everything that we do. So in summary, experience, safety, service, and integrity. That's what I bring to the table as your sheriff. And that's why I'm asking for the honor of being reelected in November. Thank you.
So I've stated from the very beginning that one of my key things I would focus on is the key factors that affect Columbia County citizens. I wouldn't go after marijuana grants and then change the name of them. And our citizens have spoken, they've legalized marijuana. I would address issues. For funding issues, I would go after more serious things like DUI grants that actually affect the citizens. So unfortunately, crime in Columbia County is on the rise and needs to be addressed sooner than later. I firmly believe I'm the best candidate to cultivate and foster a cohesive law enforcement presence in our community. With the right leadership and direction, I believe that we can bring our community together and foster positive change. I've been in this county a long time. I've raised 2 children here and hope to raise my grandchildren here. If things don't change in this county with population increase, I fear it's going to be a place that people no longer want to put their roots down and call home. We have to have proactive policing. We need to address the livability issues that are plaguing our communities, like stolen catalytic converters, homelessness, drug, and mental health crisis. We have to recognize the need for change and a fresh perspective and get rid of the good old boy institutionalized system. Otherwise, we're going backwards, not forwards.